Hey there, home lovers. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris Vanthal. I am a realtor with Keller Williams Realty here in the Tampa Bay area. And today I want to explore the world of home inspections. What do they entail? How do you hire a home inspector? And most importantly, why is it important for you to get a home inspection when you're buying a home? Don't go anywhere. I will be right back with all of that information for you right after this. Okay, guys, let's talk about home inspections. First of all, what is a home inspection? A home inspection is an inspection of a property that's carried out by in some states. Home inspectors are not regulated and are not required to be licensed. Here in Florida, home inspectors are licensed. They are regulated by the state of Florida, and they are required to complete 120 hours of training by an approved trainer, and then they have to pass an exam by one of 4 different exam companies before they can be a licensed home inspector. After that, then they need to complete 14 hours of continuing education every 2 years. So they're regulated just like realtors are and like many other industries in the state of Florida. Many home inspectors also belong to other organizations besides just getting that stuff done. Just like we belong to the National Association of Realtors or the Florida Association of Realtors, things like that. Home inspectors might belong to the Florida Association for Building Inspectors. They might belong to the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, I believe it's called. So there are a couple of different associations that they can belong to as well. And those are the folks that you want doing a home inspection for you to determine whether the home that you are about to buy is something that is adequate and is going to be safe for you and for your family. Why is a home inspection something that's necessary? That is a really great question, and it's important to understand the reasons for getting a home inspection when you're going through the process of buying a home. The main reason to get a home inspection, of course, is to make sure that the property you're about to buy is in good condition or in a type of condition that you can live with. A home inspection can reveal to you items that might become an issue in the future, or issues that simply are not visible right now to someone who is not trained to look for those items. A home inspector, as he's going through the property and making notes for his report for you, will notate places where let's say he's on the roof and notices some soft spots on the roof. He might notate on the report that he recommends a roof inspector taking a look at the roof. Or perhaps he's looking at the electrical panel and notices that there are some breakers that are double tapped, or something else happening in the electrical panel that's outside of his general purveyor of information. So he might recommend that a licensed electrician goes out there and takes a look and gives you a recommendation as to whether or not that's a safety issue for your family. Things like that. So while a home inspector is going through the home, they will make recommendations for any further inspections that they think should be done to clarify any issues that they find. Having a home inspection done is also a good way to learn how extensive repairs are to this home that you're about to buy. So if you're okay with doing repairs, or you have a budget for your repairs, it might be good for you to know if the repairs that are needed on this house will fall within that budget, or if you're looking at things that are a little bit more than what you bargained for to begin with. So things to look for on your inspection report that might indicate repairs that need to be done immediately or in the very near future would be things such as the roof has a useful life of 5 years, or the HVAC is working now, but is at the end of its useful life. You might see pipes are galvanized steel, and though not leaking now, may fail at any time. Another common one we see is something like Tree branches near the roof line could accelerate wood rot on fascia and wearing on the shingles. By knowing these things up front, you know what items are going to require repair sooner than later, and you'll be able to save for those items after you purchase the home so that when the time comes, you have the means and the budget to be able to make those repairs. Another great reason to get a home inspection is to learn more about the home that you're about to buy. So you'll be at the inspection, and as the home inspector finds things towards the end of the inspection, one of the things that a good inspector will do is walk through the property with you and show you all of the things that they're going to put on the report so that when you get that report, you know what they're looking at and what they're talking about. So when you're doing that, it's a great time to ask questions and learn more about this house that you're about to buy. Again, a good inspector is going to be okay with you asking questions, and they're going to be fine answering those questions and providing an education to a buyer, particularly a first-time buyer who maybe doesn't have as much experience as someone who's bought homes before. So they're perfectly fine doing that kind of thing, and you should take that opportunity to learn as much as you can about the home and about home ownership period, about different building things and why he looked at certain items and why certain items might become an issue. So that's a great way to educate yourself as a homeowner, not just about the home that you're buying, but just in general. If the home needs extensive repairs, the inspection could actually provide an out for the buyer. In Florida, we have 2 contracts, and that is a whole different video, but the short version is we have the standard contract and we have the as-is contract. So in the as-is contract, the buyer has the ability to cancel the contract with no repercussions, getting their escrow money back, as long as it's done within that inspection period. So the inspection also provides a time when a buyer can get out of the contract should they want to. If you choose not to cancel the contract and to move forward with it, you're okay with the items in the inspection, you can use the inspection as a negotiation tool. What I mean by this is you can take the items found on the inspection report, and then you can negotiate for repairs to be done to the home. Now, if you're using the standard contract in Florida, there is a place for those repair amounts, and this is the time that you would then negotiate which repairs the seller will do prior to closing. Even if you're using the as-is contract, though, many sellers will go ahead and make some repairs to the home as long as they're reasonable and they're minor. And if you're getting an FHA loan, there are certain things that the seller has to make sure are in working order and in the way that FHA says that they should be working. So if they are not, and the inspector finds those items like that in the inspection, then the seller does have to go ahead and make those repairs. So again, you can use this as a negotiation tool. How that plays out in the real world is one of 3 ways. Either the buyer will request the seller to make the repairs, the buyer will request the seller to provide a credit or concessions back to the buyer on the closing statement to account for those repairs that need to be made, or 3, the buyer and the seller will renegotiate the sales price of the home and negotiate it to a lower price to account for the repairs that need to be done to the home. And finally, a home inspector will do a wind mitigation and a 4-point inspection, which are 2 papers that your insurance agent will need in order to provide you with the very best insurance quote possible. So by getting a wind mitigation and the 4-point inspections done, it tells the insurance company, it goes through specific items, and it tells the insurance company how well the house is built and held together and maintained in these areas. And then they end up being able to provide you with a lower insurance premium based on that wind mit and that 4-point inspection. So getting a home inspection can actually save you money on your insurance, on your homeowner's insurance. So to recap, the reasons why it's important to get a home inspection are to reveal any potential issues that the home has, for the home inspector to be able to recommend any additional inspections that they think that you might need to get, to show how extensive repairs might need to be made or how soon you might need to make those repairs, to help you learn more about your home, to give you an out in the contract as a negotiating tool, and to reduce your insurance premiums on your homeowner's insurance. Now let's talk about how to hire a home inspector. There are a few things that you probably want to look for when you're looking for the home inspector that you're going to hire to do your home inspection. The first one, of course, is the qualifications. Number one, qualifications. Make sure they're licensed, make sure they're certified, make sure they've got all of their qualifications, all of their certifications, all of their licensure. Everything is done and up to date, according to state of Florida. Number two, look at their insurance and ask them to talk to you about their insurance. So you want to find out about their liability insurance and also their E&O, or their errors and omissions insurance. Because if something happens and you find out about it after the closing that the home inspector got something wrong, you want to know what recourse you have in that instance. So, home inspectors are all human and they do make mistakes. It doesn't happen super often, but it happens, and you want to know what you'll be able to do about it if that does happen in your case. You can ask potential home inspection companies for a sample report of what they would send out to a buyer, and they should be able to provide you with that. I've seen reports, home inspection reports that are, 30 pages long, and I've seen some that are 120 pages long. And although the 120 page one seems like overkill, honestly, I want to see all of that detail that a home inspector puts into the 120 page report, because then I know they've gone through the home with a fine-tooth comb and they've really, really looked at everything that needs to be looked at. I can be pretty confident about that report. Finally, hopefully you'll be getting recommendations from your friends, your family, your realtor, and looking at reviews online, because we know that those are the best ways to find people who are going to do a good job for us. So don't feel shy about looking at those reviews. Find them on Google, find them on Yelp, find them on Facebook. And even if you get recommendations from your friends, your family, or your realtor, go ahead and check out those reviews and make sure that these are people who are going to do a good job for you. Okay, we have your house under contract. We have hired a home inspector. What do you expect from the home inspection? Or what should you expect on the day of the home inspection? When I started my career many years ago, in 2003, home inspections were about an hour long. An hour and a half was like a really good home inspection. 2 hours if it was a big house or a big farm property. I worked up in Ocala, a big farm property that needed had a lot of outbuildings and a lot of things to look at. Those days are gone. Home inspections these days last about 3.5 to 4 hours, and they are very, very detailed. Now, that being said, you don't have to be at the home inspection for the entire 4 hours, either as the buyer or if you're the seller of the house. It's probably best to just let the home inspector go in and do his thing. Home inspectors have access to most homes, or they will get access from the buyer's agent or from the listing agent. So it's not necessary to be there like following the home inspector around to see what he's doing the whole time. They'll really thank you if you don't do something like that. So your home inspector is going to get to the property, and they are going to look at the interior of the house and the exterior of the house, of course, and the pool. And if it's a bigger property and it has detached garages or any of that stuff, they'll look at all of that as well. And what they're doing is on the exterior of the house, they're looking at all of the fascia, the soffits, the gutters, the trees, how they come in around the property. They will probably look down and pull any mulch and stuff away from the foundation of the house and take a look down there. They're going to check that exterior doors aren't sticking. They'll look at the HVAC. They'll get on the roof and they'll walk around on the roof and take photographs and check out the roof. So they do a lot of work on the outside. They're going to check your exterior outlets. They'll check your exterior faucets, all of that stuff, just to make sure that everything is running and working and in good condition. On the inside of the house, then, they're going to go in and they're going to look at everything that is easily accessible or relatively easily accessible. So they're not going to make holes in the walls to look at anything. They won't do things like that, but they will look at all of the plumbing. They'll turn the faucets on. They'll let the faucets run. They will check the oven to make sure that the oven heats up and that the stove, all the burners turn on the stove. They'll check the AC. So they'll turn the AC all the way down and they'll check it to see how cold it is. They'll check the hot water heater, make sure it has the relief valves and all the other things that it needs to have for safety reasons. They'll check to make sure that your faucets have those little, the little screens that go in there. They check everything. If it can be checked, they'll check it. They'll check the GFCI outlets. They'll check that the outlets are running. They'll notate it if they're upside down. Sometimes you go into a bad rehab and they've put in the outlet covers, the outlet covers upside down. So they go through everything with a fine-tooth comb and they'll look at everything. They'll open up all the closets. They'll check all the doors. They'll check the windows to make sure they open and close and that they lock and all of these things. They'll notate if they don't have screens in them. All of this stuff will be done. So you can expect all of that on the inside of the house. Then you should come in about an hour before they're done. So they'll say, we'll be there at 9 o'clock in the morning and you should be there about 11:30 or 12 because that's about when they're getting to the end of their inspection. Double check that with the inspection company. They'll let you know, but that should be about the right time. And at that time, then, when the inspector is done with their inspection, that's when they will walk through the house with you and show you everything that they noted, why it's an issue, what they think needs to be done, if it needs to be repaired, if you need to have someone else come and look at it more in depth, another inspection, someone who's licensed like an electrician or plumber or something like that. So they'll go through all of that with you. That way, when you receive that 120-page report and you see all these things that need to be done, you're not sitting there going, what does that mean? Where was that? He'll go through all of that with you. The next thing, of course, is that you should keep an eye out within probably 24 to 48 hours. They try and get it done pretty quickly, so should be within 24 hours. You will receive the copy of the inspection report, generally via email. They'll send it to you with all the photographs and all the details and all the writings and all the recommendations. Everything will be done in there. Typically, it comes as a summary, and then it comes with all the detailed stuff behind that. So you would look for that by email. And at that point, then you get with your realtor and you make a decision about what you want to do based on the home inspection. And that's it. That's how you do the home inspection. So today I have a piece of bonus information to go with the home inspections. And this is, most of the time, the home inspection is something that's related to the buyer and only related to the seller in as far as how the seller is going to handle any repair requests that are made based on the home inspection. However, we often recommend that our sellers go ahead and get what's called a pre-inspection done. It's just a full-blown inspection. It's going to cost about the same thing as a regular inspection. So it's going to cost you, $400, $500, $600, depending on the size of the property. Maybe more if it's a really big house and a really big property. But they start about $450. So we highly recommend that our sellers get a pre-inspection done before we list the house on the MLS and start showing it, because the pre-inspection is going to showcase all of the little issues that the buyer's inspection will find. And doing it before the house is listed gives you, the seller, the opportunity to make those repairs and not have to worry about any of those issues when the time comes to sell your house and negotiate with a buyer. Now, It may seem like some of these things that a home inspector comes up with are not really big. You know, maybe they come up with some electrical repairs that need to be done, and you call your electrician. He's like, yeah, I can do it for $500. And you say, it's just $500. I'm not going to worry about it. The reality, though, is that a buyer goes in there, and if there are a whole bunch of little things that are nitpicked together and they add up, and maybe they only add up to $500 or $1,000 worth of repairs, it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. But in the buyer's mind, in their perception, that home is not as well maintained as it originally looked like it was. And one of the things that could happen if you don't go ahead and get these things fixed is that they start nickel and diming you for concessions. So what starts out as a $500 repair to electrical items might end up the buyer asking for $1,000 or $1,500 in concessions or reduction in price, and then you're going back and forth. And you know, I mean, let's be honest here. Just save yourself the headache, get the pre-inspection done, do the little minor repairs, call it a day, and go sell the house and be happy with it. So there you go. Bonus tips for you. That's all I have for you today about home inspections and why it's important to get a home inspection. I hope you found some useful information here that you can use on your home buying or your home selling journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share. Leave me a comment. Give me some horror stories about home inspections or some big wins about home inspections. I always love to have those stories. I would really love to read those. And as always, I very much appreciate you supporting the channel and subscribing and being a part of our community. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.